Maloney's Hardware and Garden Stores brings you Garage Logic podcast number 1316, May 29th, 2024. 94 degrees on this day in 2006 and 2018, and 33 degrees on this day in 1965 when we had a bit of a cold spell, which was odd because that was the year we had flooding and we had terrible tornadoes, and it was chilly.
Big year for climate change.
Rough one on that. Hail you.
What
are those records brought to you by?
Hey. They're Aquaside.
I see.
And boy, both in 2006 and 2018, or was 94, you can bet people were swimming. And I hope the beach was kept clear of weeds and algae and all the junk the kids don't like by the Aquaside products made in White Bear Lake. They work quickly. They're easy to use. They're registered with the EPA and DNR. There's no need to let weeds overtake your lake or pond this summer. Call Aquaside, describe the problem. They'll help you identify the problem and get you the right products. Call Aquaside at 1-800-328-9350 or go to aquaside.com.
Hail the flashlight king.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Heidt in the newsroom, and of course, the rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Souchere.
I went outside this morning early to marvel at the splendor of the beautiful day.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Jesus.
What do you mean by early? Early, what do you mean?
8:15.
Okay. Please continue.
The sky was blue and the trees were blooming.
My day was half over by 8:15.
And I could smell the lilacs, and I just thought, this is the day the Lord hath made.
Let us
And then you know what I
glad.
thought? I better check the headlines on Drudge. See what we're facing on a day this absolutely glorious.
A bluebird day.
You ready? Trump tells fundraiser he would have bombed Russia and China. Update. Alito's neighbors called cops after ugly run-ins with Justice's wife. That's the Supreme Court. Did you ever think you'd hear that kind of news about the Supreme Court?
No.
Cybertruck sends owner to ER before he even gets to drive it. Scientists believe humans could live forever by the 2030s. Okay, I know that one because isn't that contrary to everything the Mysterians tell us that we're killing Gaia? Gaia's going to die unless we stop driving. But we're going to live now forever.
Amen.
That seems too long.
Yeah.
Is China stockpiling resources to prepare for war?
Yes.
Secretive space plane ejects mysterious object.
Maybe it was the white thing the other guy saw the other day.
North Korea, by the way, is sending bags of poop
Yeah.
to South Korea.
That's
That's not very charitable,
In
is
a
it?
bag where they light it on fire so they
No,
have
it's
to
just
stop
a
it
flying
out.
bag of poop.
No.
They blow up a balloon
Yeah.
and then they attach a bag of poop to the
like
balloon.
when you're carrying around a bag for your dog.
They
They're
send
sending
it
to
across
South
the
Korea.
alley
Why
to
haven't I
their
ever thought of
neighborhood.
Study. Having kids can shorten man's life. Alarming toll on the heart.
Yeah.
Okay.
The headline.
There's more. There's a lot of headlines, isn't there?
Mm-hmm. Bizarre Ozempic side effects include risky sex and gambling.
Hey.
How do I get my hands on it?
Yeah, where do I get some Ozempic?
Right in Haiti. You get it in Haiti.
Animal rights group files complaint against Virginia Medical School citing abuse of baboons.
Ooh.
Mm.
Well, she was pretty after 4 drinks.
Ebola-like eye bleeding fever spreading in Europe.
Now that gets my attention.
I would think it would be.
Yeah.
The cult of Costco. Oh, here it is. Kim Jong-un's balloon barrage. Bags of excrement fly into South.
Are they specifically his
I believe so.
excrement?
Maybe just the family. Yeah.
Which, do you want to go deeper on that story?
On Kim Jong?
North Korea, they have a fertilizer shortage, so they've been saving their own excrement for
Which
their
makes
fields.
bad fertilizer.
Yeah, you're not.
Oh, it does.
Human waste is not a good fertilizer.
Oh, it isn't.
No.
So stop.
How did
Kenny.
how did you learn?
Well, I know about these things.
You got a garden that
He tasted the corn. Yeah, he's growing
I
tomatoes.
think it's common knowledge. I mean,
It's also referred, sorry to interrupt, it's also referred to as night soil,
what is?
human fertilizer.
Night
But it's
soil.
bad soil because you people take pills and drugs and eat weird things, and it's just a bad. It's a bad manure.
you people.
You people.
Yeah. A lot of people like.
So, Joe, up here in the land of septic tanks,
Yep.
they've got the honey wagon shows up once every year or so.
Yep.
And they clean out your septic system, but then they've got to put that somewhere.
I don't know where they take it. I'm not sure.
It goes right out on fields.
Oh, it does really?
Yes.
Well, that's terrible. That's not good for the plants.
So when you're driving up good old Highway 61 there and you look over to your left and you see a field that's got little white blots all over it,
Yeah.
that's toilet paper.
Oh no. No, that just ruins this beautiful day.
Yeah.
Have you ever been on site
Oh.
when the honey wagon driver arrives?
Yeah, I have.
These guys are right out of Central Casting. The shirt and the one time I've only experienced it once. And the guy who arrived was a nice guy, but his every bit of him was flecked with debris.
Oh.
That's as kindly as I can
And
put
you're not
it.
talking lunch.
No, flat, and his hat was flecked with debris.
Huh.
And so were his skin, his face,
Oh.
had flecks of debris.
Oh. God.
And that didn't seem to bother him. He was fine with that.
I'm picturing Ed
Wow.
Norton for some reason.
It was a similar.
I will never complain about having to work with you guys ever
No.
again.
Well, you could be doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
Hold on.
You'll learn more here by accident than elsewhere by design. Here's Joe Souchere.
Well, I hope what we could agree, John, maybe you could Google it, and I'm not being facetious. I don't think human waste is a quality fertilizer.
Well,
I don't think it's used at all.
That is what I looked up, and I'm on the night soil Wikipedia page. It started because this was a result of sanitation systems in areas without sewers or, as Kenny mentioned, septic tanks.
Well, I ain't eating those crops.
Yeah.
It should be treated carefully to make it safe because it can carry a disease-causing
Of course it
pathogens
can.
and parasites.
Yes.
But human waste can also be a good source of plant nutrients like
I know.
nitrogen and phosphorus.
I don't believe it.
Do you know what my favorite part of this entire
I
conversation
really,
is going to be?
really want to quickly turn a
It's
corner
going to
here.
be the email response with the listener saying, "Well, actually,
Yeah. Here's what corn
I just
fat
have
is.
one thing. GLer Irma Bombeck says the grass is always greener over the septic tank.
Irma Bombeck. It's so funny you mentioned her. She was fantastic.
Has she passed?
Oh yeah, yeah. She was she had really carved out an interesting niche for herself as a newspaper columnist. You morons never heard of her. Kenny obviously has.
Sure, I have.
She wrote,
And John has.
She had the Sunday column or whatever
No, Matt, it isn't that. She wrote about
stuff.
being a mother and a wife, but she did it with humor. We're changing the subject now.
Yes.
But I'm proud of you, Kenny. I'm proud of you
For what?
that you mentioned
For
Irma
interrupting?
Bombeck. That you
Oh.
mentioned Irma Bombeck.
Oh, you're welcome, Joe.
Wasn't she routinely a guest on the Tonight Show? And I mean, she had a stardom. She was a
I
well-known.
actually had some books by her.
Yeah. Please don't
It
eat the
was her
daisy.
take on life.
There you
There.
go.
She was on Good Morning America regularly for 11
Yeah.
years
Yeah.
straight.
When did she die, John?
1996 of
Oh, boy.
polycystic kidney disease.
Oh, a long time ago. Gee whiz. Okay, we're turning the corner completely. Do you all recall last year a church in Carver County that was going to be used for what the Eastern Carver County School District for their graduation ceremony? Does that include a high school?
Yeah, what it is it's Chaska High School, and there's a number of middle schools and elementary schools in the Carver and Chaska
all
area.
of which would have used the church, but it was determined last year that would have made people uncomfortable because it was a church.
Right. And it's a massive school district. It's
and also
big.
a massive church, as I understand
Correct.
it.
Yeah, it's
Grace Lutheran?
Yes.
Is it a Lutheran church?
It is, and it's in Eden Prairie.
And so last year, the Mysterians won, and they didn't have the graduation ceremonies in the church because that would have been off-putting. It would have made people uncomfortable to have to actually endure such a thing.
Roll your eyes here.
Well, this year, the Timberwolves have fouled up Eastern Carver County School District because they can't use Target Center as they did last year. So they're going back to the church.
Oh, who's offended?
It's the only facility apparently that could handle the kind of crowds they have. It's a booming part of the metro. So I have a note. I'm not supposed to use the guy's name for a variety of reasons, but I think you discussed this on the show last year regarding Eastern Carver County School District's decision to move graduation ceremonies to Target Center because using Grace Church as the venue was offensive. Well, guess what happened this year? Below is a copy of an email to Eastern Carver County school staff from the school super, the district super, regarding a temporary move back to Grace Church with accommodations for those who are not comfortable with this. It's unbelievable the lengths the failed academy will go to in order for everybody to have a safe place. Safe is now foghornable.
Oh,
the word safe is foghornable. I can't take it. I would also point out that she believes that these graduates have already faced too many challenges in their scholastic career. As she states, you have been called on to be resilient in the face of unexpected circumstances more times than is fair for 17 and 18-year-olds. Heaven forbid that we challenge anybody to be resilient. Want a foghorn resilient? He wants it foghorn. That's not, it's getting there. This is from the super. What is the super's name? Dr. Erin Rathke. I believe that's female. ERIN. Yeah. She's ED.D. What's that? She's a doctorate of education, I would imagine. So. She's the super. And she writes as follows. Staff, I wanted to make sure you're aware of a change in our graduation ceremony. The communication below is being sent to high school seniors and families. Like many of you, I've watched with excitement as our Minnesota Timberwolves have continued to defy expectations in their historic and unprecedented run for the NBA championship. Well, let me stop right there. There's nothing historic or unprecedented about it. They did this. They've done this before.
2004.
Yeah. They got to the Western Conference Finals in 2004. What I couldn't anticipate, nor did the staff at the Target Center realize, was the impact it would have on our graduation venue. We were informed a few days ago that if the Timberwolves make it to the NBA Finals, Target Center will be unable to hold our graduation as planned. Event staff have conveyed their deep regret, as they too thought that given the game schedule, there would not be an issue. No one involved was aware of the restrictions the NBA would place on the Target Center for the duration of the NBA Finals. Given that uncertainty, and at the strong recommendation of Target Center staff, we have no choice but to move our graduation ceremony location. Since learning of the scheduling conflict, district and building staff have worked tirelessly to determine what other viable options might be available. Given the extremely tight time frame, no other large venues are available to accommodate. We did investigate whether holding the ceremonies on site was a possibility, but the logistics with fewer than 2 weeks' time made this very challenging. With those, what would be challenging? You got 2 weeks to get your school ready.
Let's go.
Go out to the football field.
Go and open it up.
With those options exhausted, we have made the decision to hold our Chaska and Chanhassen graduation ceremonies at Grace Church this year. The date and time will remain the same for both ceremonies. We know this was not expected. We are fully committed to holding graduation in a secular space moving forward. Our administration is already planning for next year's ceremony with that principle as the foundation of our search. We are also prioritizing a venue with fewer possibilities for potential disruption. In other words, they probably shouldn't plan on the Target Center next year.
Right.
And if the Wild would ever get their act together, you shouldn't count on XL either. We are grateful to the Grace Church community for their willingness to host us, as we know that putting on an event of this size in such a relatively short period of time is a big task, and they are partnering with us to make that happen. They have been gracious and supportive, and I want to thank them for their collaboration over the next 2 weeks as we work to put on a successful event. I also want to acknowledge that some of our students and families may not be comfortable in that space. I want that foghorn. Because it means more than space.
Right.
To ensure everyone has a positive and affirming graduation experience, an alternate ceremony will be available for those families who do not want to attend graduation at Grace. If you would like to participate in the alternate ceremony instead, to be held the evening of Thursday, June 6th, please complete this form no later than this Friday. And there's a link to the form you can fill out. We know how important graduation is to our students and families, and how much planning goes on at home to make the day special. Indeed, some of our board members and district leaders have students walking across the stage this year. We understand the impact of any change to that planning. We are trying to make sure we are meeting the needs of all our students and providing the memorable, she's a long-winded super, isn't she? High-quality experience we have always worked hard to do. You know what my note would have been? Graduation, not at Target Center this year. It said Grace. See you there.
Yep. 7 p.m.
It's over.
RSVP and the link
over.
below.
You get 6 tickets.
So unsensitive.
I don't care.
Insensitive? Yeah.
Insensitive.
In this case, it is on.
Your high school principals will provide any additional updates about logistical changes early next week, as well as information about refunding the $14 fee increase that was added to cover the associated costs of using Target Center. Just a minute, I got to make a note to myself. Just a minute. I am really developing observations as I read this. To our students, I know all too well that much of your high school experience has been anything but normal. Are these kids would have been still affected by COVID, perhaps, as seniors?
Yeah, sure.
And that you have been called on to be resilient in the face of unexpected circumstances more times than is fair. I am sorry to have to ask for your understanding one more time, but I, like your families, teachers, and community, want to make sure you end your high school career feeling celebrated and seen. I am proud of you and can't wait to honor you during graduation week. To our families, please know that your district and building leaders have wrestled with this change and any potential impacts it might have, and are doing our very best not to disappoint anyone. This is a big milestone for you as well, and I look forward to celebrating our graduates together. Thank you, all of you, for your patience, support, and partnership as we make this change. Dr. Aaron Rathke. Well, here's a couple of things I noticed. A, it'll be cheaper to go to Grace Lutheran.
Mm-hmm.
B, parking won't be a problem.
Right.
C, it's much closer. You're crazy not to use Grace all the time.
And if you're Grace and you're being tossed around, don't you say, nah, we're good. We don't need you guys here.
You know what I'm reminded of? The Mary Tyler Moore episode in which Ted Knight, what was his character's name? Not Lou Grant. That was Ed Asner.
Lou Grant. He was What was Ted Knight's character called?
Ted Baxter.
Ted Baxter.
Baxter.
He wanted to start a journalism school, and he had one person show up.
Oh,
and the Ted wanted to cancel, and the one person said, "Oh no, I paid. I want my classes." Well, what if they get one person to show up at the alternative graduation ceremony? I want you to go through the whole thing.
right.
The whole thing. I'm not leaving here until you do the whole
We're getting our
program.
money's worth.
That's right. You precious, not even useful idiots.
I think that you're approaching this from the wrong angle, Joe. If it was me that was invited to a graduation ceremony and it turned out to be at a church, I would be highly offended and I would have to stay home.
Much like when we schedule an
And
event.
Joe, I'm surprised you being you haven't thought of this. This is where you and I are the same. We will use any excuse to get out of graduations, marriages, and funerals.
Well, I am at the age where people do me a favor by not inviting me to stuff. I'm on board there. I went to a graduation last night in a church. I was deeply offended. I felt uncomfortable.
Was it Presbyterian or Lutheran?
That was those bingo playing Catholics, and I didn't feel that I was safe in my space.
Safe. There's the word.
Brian, town council member Brian has a good email. Subject line: Grace Lutheran. Is that a Lutheran church? No, Such. It's Southern Baptist. That's a great point. You said Grace Lutheran. Is that a Lutheran church? At the very
It doesn't say Grace Lutheran.
Oh, I thought that's what you said.
That's why I asked. Is it a Lutheran church?
It just says Grace Church.
It just says Grace Church.
Oh, okay. I thought you said Grace because that is what it's called.
And then I asked you if it was Lutheran.
Oh, okay. Because I know it is called Grace Lutheran.
And I'm unaware of it. I take it it's a large building.
Yeah, it's right off of what is it, 62 or 212? I can't remember.
How could any kid not favor that after compared to the hassles of going downtown?
Right.
So what is the auditorium? I'm sorry, I don't know the terms. The auditorium where everybody sits. What's that called in a church? There's a special name for it.
The church.
The church.
Well, it's full of pews.
You got your altar, you got your sacristy, and you got your
you got the church.
But the room, what's the room called? Anyway, looking at a photo of Grace Church, that room looks very comfortable and delightful. And there's a lot of things. What I like about a church is I like to have a lot of things to look at and maybe something on the wall that you can count during the course of the sermon.
I counted the graduates last night.
Give me something to count. That's what I want.
71.
God, we are the same person. I'm so, oh my God.
71. And there
Lutheran
wasn't
church.
room for me and another
family
member. So we had to sit in the very back, which I was thrilled about.
Yes.
It was much cooler, temperature, the cooler.
Oh, you sat in the bench behind?
Well, no, we were way in the back of the church.
Okay.
And because the family had to share the pew with another family, and a fight almost developed.
Ooh.
Yeah, they were going to come to blows because there wasn't enough room in the pew. So I said, hey, I'll be glad to go in the back.
I volunteer to tribute.
And then I didn't hear or see a thing, but I had my phone. So I was kind of monitoring the Timberwolves game.
And when it's time for everybody to leave, as soon as everybody stands up, you're out of there. I mean, right away.
Well, and not only that, but they have beautiful stained glass windows at this facility. And the setting sun, the western sun, was playing marvelous tricks with the stained glass windows on the wall. So it was very enjoyable.
Nice. What's the vestibule?
The vestibule is a room when you enter a place.
It's not just a church.
Isn't that no? That's the foyer, isn't it?
The foyer,
or the parlor,
foyer, parlor. Well, a parlor is the sitting room in a house.
Right. I have a parlor in my house.
I bet you do.
A place where you eat ice cream.
Right. But to answer Kenny's question, I think the room in a church that's full of the pews, that's the church.
Congregation?
No, it's
I
the
thought we had a
church.
special